this world. Ad Astra.
Ow.
So after all the instruments were recorded, we moved on to vocals.
For this process, we tried to create an environment that was not going to be super resonant. We tracked it in the editing room. There's an amount of small room reverberation that ends up bleeding in, so we had to create a miniature fort using blankets and mic stands.
We built what eventually would become known as Fort Foreskin. You cut the Fort Foreskin. That's Fort Foreskin.
Giving me more editing shit to do later.
Yeah!
During that time period, we had a miniature isolation screen that we had picked out. We borrowed it from our friend Bradley Beckman, who was nice enough to lend us that, and the SM7B, which was the mic that we used. Pretty quintessential for metal vocals at this point. The tracking process for vocals involved me and Cameron. Cameron did all of his first because he is the primary vocal element. So it was very important that we get those tracks down before we move on to any backing vocals.
I mean, basically we would just come in for each particular song, make any last minute kind of lyrical tweaks that we wanted to. Something that's different that we did this time is we did doubled vocals for almost everything. So all of the main kind of vocal parts are two takes, kind of the way that you would record guitars. For my stuff, it would be, you know, two layers of me for a main vocal. And then on any of the like parts that Quentin would kind of come in to add emphasis on, he would have to do two of those. And then if we wanted any more, we would kind of do most of those in doubling as well. It took a lot of time because being, you know, syncing two vocal takes to sound, you know, really tight with each other is pretty difficult, especially with a lot of like hard consonants. I think as it kind of went on, we kind of felt it out a little bit more and figured out how to stay in sync a little bit more, and it was cool.
Cameron's vocals have improved dramatically since the last time he's been able to get behind a microphone.
There's a lot of growth in just about every area as far as the way that he sounds. It's getting better all the time. He's constantly developing his techniques, adding on things.
You can definitely tell whenever you're tracking him. He's much more comfortable in his vocal technique, and that allows him to emote a little bit more.
I definitely wanted to knuckle down because, like, I don't know, like I'd only really been doing vocals for like maybe a year when we did the EP, and it shows. I don't know, I wanted to have something that was not just like rage, that had a little bit more melody to it, and hopefully it shows and paid off.
Take me, break me apart, erase the lights, pull me out of the Stalovian despair, sacrifice the lies, shred of the painful truth, take me to the stars.
How would you describe your two different styles? Cameron has more of a mid-ranged vocal, whereas I have a slightly lower register. So we play off of each other with that.
What do you think of Quentin's vocals on this record?
Quentin sounds like a bear.
He's like Big Bear. It's like he's three people screaming at the same time. It's almost as if he doesn't need a microphone when he does it. Like, I feel like he could do it live and the whole room would hear him.
The dude just sounds like a monster, man. He can do like the traditional kind of low guttural vocal, but he also does these like bear sounds and stuff like that. It's great that we have that diversity and dynamic of sorts.
Boggle!
I fall in line!
That sounds huge. I know, that's what I'm saying. Sounds huge altogether.
Dawson! No eyes are blind! The sky is mine!
During the tracking of the vocals, one of my favorite things that
was the in-between moments.
We got really creative later down the line with saying when you are starting and stopping a take.
What was
dude, it's
the
just
phrase?
ridiculous. Oh, boggle!
Boggle! Let's boggle it up.
Boggle.
Boggle!
Boggling my way downtown.
Boggle?
Boggle.
Boggle.
Yes. Yes, boggle.
Boggle.
Boggle, boy.
Boggle. Boggle.
Boggle?
Boggle. Boggle.
Boggle.
Boggle.
Boggle, Mr. Producer.
What the fuck is boggle?
I don't remember. I think it's from a video that Ben showed us. I don't remember. I think it's a King of the Hill thing. But yeah, it just kind of stuck as the universal signal for I'm ready to record now. Boggle!
Yeah, Cameron would watch it would be either football or hockey. Whenever we would be tracking, a football game or hockey would be happening, so why not watch between takes, right?
Go away, I'm watching sports.
Oh, are you actually watching sports in there?
Yeah.
Oh,
Look.
wait, hang on.
Bro, look.
Oh shit, he is. Oh, look at the football. It's the ball sports.
We recorded a lot on weekends, and I'm not missing football. 'Cause that's the kind of guy I am.
Sports ball.
Sports ball!
Bananas we discovered are very useful. Get you all lubricated. Get that voice nice and phlegmy for you. Very liquidy.
And so there's a lot of times during the sessions where the guys would just be eating bananas, and there was just all these peels everywhere, and be like, man, it's such a mess.
So with lyrics, I would take home a demo of the songs when we were writing them, and then I would kind of just plot out patterns of where I knew I wanted syllables to go, and then roughly what vowels that I wanted for the beginning or ending of those patterns. And then I would just kind of form words and sentences around those kind of frameworks.
There were different songs that had different amounts of collaboration. Cameron would bring in a lot at first, and then generally what I would do is I would like edit them and kind of like give him refining ideas, and we would change things up. And as things went on, we became more collaborative in that process, and we began writing more of that together. There are themes and ideas, rough concepts to all of these songs to tie them all together almost conceptually, and we wanted to almost create like a somewhat loose narrative. There is somewhat of a structure, and we wanted to flesh out where all of these songs fit within that idea.
There's definitely themes that you're gonna understand, like, you know, oh, this is kind of that, and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, as far as, you know, the actual phrasing and lyrics and everything, I don't want to be like forcing anything onto anyone. It's just kind of putting it out there, and, you know, kind of make of it what you will.
There's a lot of personal turmoil and loss and experience that has happened in our own lives in the band that has been reflected in those lyrics, and it's almost like a venting of those experiences and feelings. They're very important to the well-being and mental health of people in the band.
So a lot of this one was much more personal. When I first started writing lyrics for the album, I kind of had a framework in mind of, you know, going through all this stuff, and then at the end it, you know, kind of resolves, and you're, you know, you become better after all this stuff you've been through, and blah, blah, blah. But a little ways into it, I kind of realized that that was not the trajectory that it was on. It wouldn't have been a genuine thing to do. It's all still like super chaotic and crazy, and it just wouldn't have worked if I tried to write a happy ending.
With all of these experiences, like, if I'm thinking about it as not only just like a venting or a sublimation in these lyrics, but a connection to other people in an audience that feel these same kinds of things, I feel like there isn't something that is necessarily given to them other than consolation that other people feel these things.